Welcome in. It's Wednesday. I'm in Greensboro. It's raining. Our pets' heads are falling off. All of that fun stuff. Hello and welcome in. The next hour or, 12 hours, I've really got nothing else to do, is all about you. It's your time. It's questions, it's concerns, it's comments. Put them in the chat right now. We will talk through, obviously, the weather, obviously, ownership, fantasy implications, all that fun stuff. Anything you want to talk about, let's fire it up. Now, if you've never been here before, welcome. The way that we usually do this is we start by talking through the weather and the one and done ownership. That usually chops off like 50% of the questions. Now, this week in particular, weather is going to be a big story. I will tell you, I am about 6 miles from the golf course, something of that nature. It has been on and off raining all day, but now it's here. Okay. Tropical storm Debbie is here. I'm looking out the window right in front of me. It's raining, and the forecast says it is likely to rain every hour for the next day and a half. What I'm showing you right now is the radar and the path of Tropical Storm Debbie. I am not going to act like I know anything about meteorology. I'm just going to basically list off and aggregate some of the reports and forecasts that I've seen. So here's the path. She is coming back, inland here right about now. She's coming right through Charleston, and she's going to work her way up and run right through Greensboro sometime between Thursday night and Friday morning. Now that's when she is here, but obviously her implications are much farther reaching because we're already getting some of this rain right now. The forecast from Weather Underground shows heavy rain all throughout tonight, all throughout tomorrow, and into Friday morning, with the rain starting to slow down, not stopping, but starting to slow down around Friday midday, and will probably rain on and off throughout the rest of Friday. Then Saturday, Sunday, Monday, that all looks clear. Okay. We're going to have a very wet golf course, but the storm will have passed. That all looks very clear. And then also what the tour had to say is that we are expecting basically between 4 and 6 inches of rain on Thursday. 4 to 6 inches of rain on Thursday. Weather Underground says it's about 5.5. So, yep, that matches up. And then maybe another half of an inch to an inch of rain on Friday. That's a lot. It's a lot of water. If this holds up, I do not see any way that they play golf on Thursday. I think I'm going to be sitting here in this seat, staring outside, working from my laptop, talking to you guys. That's what I think is going to happen. I think that the way that they should do this, and I don't know if they will do this, is that I think that they should just say, listen, we're not playing Thursday, we're not playing Friday. We'll play 72 holes over Saturday, Sunday, and Monday. We'll play as much as we can on Saturday, probably get a round and a half in. We'll play as much as we can on Sunday, probably get another round and a half in, and then finish this thing up on Monday. If I was in charge, that's what I would do. I do not know if that's going to happen. I think the PGA Tour, any chance that they can play, they tend to play, but I'm not sure how they play golf on Thursday. The other problem would be that even if you do it my way, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, that course is going to be sopping wet. But that's not necessarily a huge detriment. I imagine they can get it in playable shape. So yeah, that's what we're dealing with. It's going to be a challenging week. I was in some of the press conferences yesterday. You might have heard me ask a couple of questions if you watch those. I don't know if you do or not. And talk to some players, and they seem to be very aware that this is going to be potentially a stop and start event, and it's going to be out of their schedule. For all of the questions like, do you think they'll play into Monday? Do you think they'll play into Tuesday? Do you think some guys will withdraw who already have their spots cleared in the FedEx Cup playoffs? I have no idea. All of that is pure speculation. I think that guys who are here are generally professionals and will take this to the end. Remember, the PGA Tour does not want to go to Tuesday, and they under almost no circumstances will they go to Wednesday. There's guidelines for this stuff, right? It might be a 54-hole event. It might be a 36-hole event, right? There are rules in the guidelines for this, right? If they can't play 72, they're going to do everything they can to get 54. And if they can't play 54, they're going to do everything they can to get 36 in. So if you think that, and again, we don't know anything, but if you think that this is going to be a shortened event, you are probably much more likely to be willing to go a little bit off the board, right? I mean, think about what leaderboards look like after 1 and 2 rounds all the time. The names are crazy, right? You might be able to get guys deeper down the board that have a good opening round or a good first 2 rounds who don't have to play the third or maybe the third and fourth round, or fourth round or maybe the third and fourth round. So I'm probably not going to try to answer like a lot of these. Hey, do you think they'll do this? Do you think they'll do that? I don't think they should play on Thursday. And I also don't think they should play on Friday. And they should play 72 holes over Saturday, Sunday, and Monday. I, however, think that because of past history, the PGA Tour, if they get any window, even if that means sending guys out for 20 minutes to bring them back out, they will do that. That's also what I think. So I'm going to try to avoid a lot of those questions, but I'll tell you right now, it's raining. The forecast doesn't look great, and we're probably going to get 4 to 7 inches of rain in the next 2 days. That is what's going to happen. It's going to be very, very wet. Now, one and done ownership right now, last event of the regular season, Sungjae Im and Billy Horschel are your 2 leading kind of front runners here. 20% for Sungjae Im, 18% for Billy Horschel. Then you get down to single digits for Shane Lowry, Cam Young, Akshay Bhatia, Brian Harmon, and Cam Davis. So because this event, I think, is going to be pretty chaotic and pretty wide open, I have no problem with you living down here in the single digits. I think Cam Davis is a great option. I think that Shane Lowry is a decent option. I think Aaron Rai at 3.6%, if you haven't used him, is a great option. Siwoo Kim's got great course history. I have no problem going with any of those guys. If you did want to pick one of the top guys, if you were front running, I think maybe Billy Horschel over Sungjae Im. It's close. I think Sungjae has a little bit more value later in the year. That's about it. But it's very, very close amongst those guys. All right, let's get to your questions here. With rain coming down, can we run a model that correlates with bad weather? 25 on driving accuracy, 25 on ball striking, 15 on course history, 10 on strokes gained putting on Bermuda, and 25 on wet conditions or something of that nature. So I don't have a wet conditions attribute, because where would you draw the line on that, right? What constitutes wet? Is it right? Like, I don't know. I actually would add a preferred lies nugget to this custom model, but I need the dates. I just need all the dates for rounds that were played on preferred lies. If anybody has been keeping track of that, send it to me. I'll import it into the database and keep it moving forward. And then we can have a filter and weights for preferred lies, because that is a binary thing. They either played preferred lies or they didn't. Calling it wet or dry or whatever, that's very, very subjective. So here's the custom model, rickrungood.com. I can get you most of the way there, Wolves. So we can do 25 on driving accuracy. We can do 25 on ball striking, which I'll just do, strokes gained off the tee and strokes gained approach, put them together. That's strokes gained ball striking. 15, or actually, I guess I should bump it up to 25 on course history, because I'm not going to be able to get you the wet conditions here. So we'll go 25 there, and then 25 on putting on Bermuda. Whoops. And we will go here. So this is Wolves model. Sungjae Im is number 1. Brian Harmon is number 2. Jordan Spieth is 3. Thomas Dietrich is 4. Ryan Moore is 5. Harris English, Mark Hubbard, Zach Johnson, Christian Bezuidenhout, and Adam Svensson. Good luck. Can we get a deep dive on Smalley? Sure. So let's get into an Adam Smalley deep dive here. I've got my drink of the day. Thank you very much. The laptop might be a little bit slower than normal. I'm obviously on my laptop, not my powerful computer. Smalley's been playing better. T7, T37, T33, T12. Ball striking numbers starting to come back. That's good to see. Putting starting to come back. This reminds me of, who does this remind me of? Matt Neesmith? No. Andrew Novak. This reminds me of Andrew Novak. When he started to come out of his slump, He found the putter, then he found the ball striking, then he put them both together. Greensboro resident. This is a pretty good call here. A lot of ties to the triangle here. He went to Duke. This is a pretty good call. This is a similar profile to one that we would see starting to go in the right way. Deep dive on Brendon Todd. Sure. Seems to fit the mold for a guy that could do well here. Right. Because when you think about it, it's a short golf course that everybody clubs down on. Everybody plays to specific positions. I asked in his presser yesterday, Will Zalatoris, how he's going to deal with the increased value of playing out of the fairway. He said he's only going to hit 5 drivers, right? And I saw that as well. When I was at the practice round yesterday, it was just a lot of guys clubbing down, hitting to the same spots off the tee. So that's good for Brendon Todd. The putter's been hot. You know, I still worry a lot about his just tee to green numbers in general have been bad. His putter has not been as lights out as we've normally seen it. The approach play hasn't even been all that good. I just think no offense to Brendon Todd, he's had an unbelievable career. I think he's kind of washed. And maybe I'm wrong. Maybe he goes out and makes a run at it this week, but I don't know how much upside there is left in Brendon Todd at this point. Good day, Rick. I default to weighted strokes gained data for fields with even a minor number of non-PGA member golfers. Could you briefly discuss choosing weighted versus not? Sure. So you'll see throughout rickrungood.com, you can go to weighted stats or you can go to just the raw stats. So the raw stats are the numbers, right? That's just, hey, this is how many strokes they gained, whatever. The weighted stuff looks at course strength, the field that they battled against, and basically says, you know, it's more impressive to gain a stroke to the field at the US Open than it is at the Bermuda Championship. I think we can all agree on that. So the weighted stuff allows you to compare those two things. I like to use it in fields where you get a lot of guys from different tours, right? Because that's where you see the biggest differences. When we had like the ISCO or the Barracuda, like those co-sanctioned European Tour events, you get guys from the Korn Ferry, the PGA, the DP World Tour, and I have the strokes gained for all of those, and I'm weighing all of those. So I think that that's a really good time to do it. This is a very, very straightforward PGA Tour field, right? So I don't know if it's necessary here. It kind of evens itself out. I mean, it's always, I guess, better to use weighted strokes gained, but I just do. I tend to lean on it more in just like standard PGA Tour events, which I would consider this one to be pretty standard. Ashley wants to look at Zach Johnson. Oh boy. I'm assuming he's getting lumped into the Brendon Todd mix of things where it's just, you know, on paper, a really good course for him. Where's the upside, right? It doesn't have a top 20 since February of 2023. A lot of missed cuts. That's not true. He had a T20 exactly at the Byron Nelson and a T19 at the Zurich, but that's a team event. Yeah, I would rather some of these unknown entities, young, like give me Davis Thompson, give me what is Thomas Deach. I guess they're obviously priced much, much differently, but somebody in the $6,500 range instead of Zach Johnson, Jacob Bridgman, Justin Suh, even Davis Riley, Hayden Buckley, Sam Ryder, Alejandro Tosti. I mean, I think all of these guys are probably better options than Zach Johnson is. 1.3 million out of first place in one and done. He has Harmon, Billy, Rye, Young. You have a plethora of riches here. It's a lot of preference. If this were me, first off, I would check to see how many guys ahead of me have Billy Horschel. And have him available. Because he's the most popular, I probably default away from that if I'm trying to make up ground, which leaves you with any of those other three at good numbers. I would probably play Aaron Rai. He's the lowest owned, and I think he might be one of the better options. You know, we've talked about Aaron Rai a lot. If he can putt this week, which he has done very well for the last month or two, this is one of the best spots for him. He's accurate off the tee. He's great on approach. And 4 out of his last 5 starts, he's putted like a maniac. So I would go Rye, but I think there is a lot of personal preference in that decision. Hey, Rick, thanks for everything. 7 out of 56. Pool Genius, says Horschel, Lowry, or Harmon. I'm leaning towards the Big Irish. What do you think? I think that's fine. Again, Horschel, you can depending on what the guys in front of you have done, you could get away with using Horschel, but you're not even in the top 10% yet because it's only 56 guys. So yeah, it is. Yeah, Lowry's fine. I think that's the right call. I hope you're staying dry. So far, so good. Can you please go over DFS ownership and favorite pivots from each range? Yeah. So again, cheat sheet, rickrungood.com. Go check it out. Mike Cavaliers, I believe, just updated these ownership numbers. So we've got, let's see, Sung Jae and Shane Lowry, 28 and 25%. Siwoo is 20 and Billy Horschel is 18. I kind of love Billy Horschel in that spot, right? He is gaining steam. He's up 5% from the latest projected ownership. Coming off the runner-up finish, he has, outside of Siwoo, has got like the best course history around this place. Don't mind that at all. The 9K range, Davis Thompson leads the way at 21%. The guys that you could pivot to are Jordan Spieth and Cam Young. Probably not interested in pivoting there. I would be eating the chalk on Davis Thompson. The 8K range, a lot of Aaron Rai, 23%. My favorite pivot here is probably Thomas Dietrich. I don't love this 8K range. Or Cam Davis. The Cam Davis, I'm in on Cam Davis. I think Cam Davis can win this golf tournament. He's got a first, a 26th, and a 19th in his last 3 starts. He's got 3 straight top 22s here. I actually think his ability to club down off the tee is a good sign here, right? He kind of sprays his driver, but he doesn't have to hit driver and probably won't hit driver all that much. I think Cam Davis could win this. He's one of my favorite pivots. And then Thomas Dietrich, 30 ownership of Aaron Rai. Dietrich's been really good this year. The only knock against him is that he's coming from Paris. I think it's easier to travel in that direction, which would be what, east to west, than going west to east. And I saw him yesterday, and it's obviously very hard to tell mindset or fatigue or anything, but he looked good. Looked good to me. Seemed fit. Seemed ready to rock and roll. Oliver, also a member of the channel, is much appreciated. You can join this channel. So Oliver, I owe you a video and a half now. I actually might edit that Hawaii video after this show tonight, try to change the different sides of my brain, go to the creative side of my brain. So I'll post that for the members. And then I've been filming a bunch of stuff, and I will continue to for the Wyndham here that I owe you guys. So it says, as preferred lies are played on tour, would it be possible to calculate strokes gained preferred lies? So 100% would be very, very simple. I just need a list of those days. Maybe I could go back through PGA Tour comms and grab those dates. But like if there was just a very simple list of dates that they played preferred lies, I could have a preferred lies number incredibly quickly. Strategy question. We pick 6 golfers each week based solely on earnings. In the lead by 2.5 million in a 50-person pool with 3 weeks left, just ride the chalk this week. Yeah. If there is no issues with, like, you can only pick a guy so many times, whatever, just ride the chalk. Speaking of picking 6, the splash contest, which actually has kind of lagged a bit. I thought we were going to fill this very, very quickly. It has actually lagged a little bit. It's still completely guaranteed. $8,100 in the purse, whether this thing fills or not. $20 entry. You pick 6 golfers, 1 from each tier. Starting this week, your lowest score gets dropped, which I love. All those times you've got a great 5 and somebody misses the cut, you're right back in it this time. Link is in the description. Go get rocking and rolling in that. I would love to fill that so we can continue this momentum and continue to get it guaranteed moving forward. Very, very simple, very, very fun. Thoughts on Chan Kim this week? Yeah, you know, his name popped up a lot recently, but I think he cooled off. Yeah, a little bit. So I'll give him 3 good starts in a row. Missed the cut at the 3M Open. Although that miscut was not very bad, he is still so the positive takeaway here is that he might have fixed the putter, which if he did is a huge gain for him because he normally loses 2 to 5 strokes putting every single start. So I don't care about this miscut. This is about a good of a miscut as you can get. So I think we're positive here. Who had the worst golf outfits at the Olympics? I think the U.S. by far. I see Scotty quickly put on his Nike jacket for the medal ceremony. I didn't mind the U.S. stuff as much. The pinstripes, I actually was okay with. The thing I did not like is how some of them were just like they had spent 5 seconds creating them. Like France, I think just had like France across the hat. I also didn't like on Sunday every country that had any bit of red wore white pants with red on Sunday. Like everybody did. I'm trying to think who had really bad ones. I don't know. I'd have to go back and look. 8K pivot, Clanton, McNeely, or Bobby Mack? Probably McNeely. I want to pull up his profile real quick. I think it's probably McNeely. These are, I have to admit, those greens I saw yesterday might be the nicest greens I've ever seen. They're going to be receptive. They are so pure. And I was talking to a couple guys out there. If you are starting your ball offline, if you miss a putt, it is your fault. It is not these greens. So a really, really good putter, but like McNeely, gets me excited. And his ball striking numbers have been better the last 6 months. He's coming off the T3 at the 3M Open. I think it's pretty clearly McNeely here. Brian says, thanks for all you do. Of course. Can we do a deep dive on Eric Cole and Matt Kuchar? I'll give you Eric Cole, who I'm actually quite bullish on, which makes me sick. But the putter's back around, the ball striking, the approach play, he's picked up 3 in his last 4. He also is very wild off the tee, but I think you get to club down here so much. I think it's time. All right, I'll give you Kuchar too. I never get this guy right. He's coming off one of the best approach weeks of his career. He loves these shorter golf courses, positional golf courses. He's been hitting it well since the Memorial. He's not going to lose strokes because of distance. I think both of them are pretty good options. If you made me choose, I would take the risk on Eric Cole. I think Eric Cole has legitimate winning upside. Hey, Rick, first and one and done by 500,000. Final event. So I can lose if the second place golfer chooses a top 3 golfer this week. Who do you like best? Keegan Rod. Okay, that is a lot of guys. So here's what I would say, Philip. Go check to see who second place has and has not used. I think if there is a good opportunity to try to box him, you should do that. So if he probably has not used all of these guys. But if I were you, I think the answer is probably Billy Horschel, right? He's got the best odds to win of these guys off the top of my head. I would rank them Horschel, Rye/Davis, then Lowry, then everybody else. I don't think you should probably be going deeper than that. Rick, you always get excited when a low-price golfer is ranked high in your custom model, but isn't that already built in since it's sorted by value? No. So this is probably something I should update. And I think this is, well, it's obviously my fault. I created this. The word value here is confusing. The word value, I guess, does imply that salary is being considered, but it's not. The value is being considered. The value is only coming from your weights. Your weights control the value, and that is it. The salary is not at all in here. So this is just a number from 0 to 100 saying how good of a play you are. I should probably change the term value to say something like score. I think score would probably be a more accurate representation of what I'm trying to say with this. So 50 is average here. Your best, the best of the best of the best possible thing you could get is 100. So no, Jeremy, it's not. That's why I always get excited. Hey, Rick, since you're in wonderful North Carolina this week, I was wondering if you're going to be at St. Jude next week. No, I will not. Been on the road a lot. I'm going to go home. I think that there's actually I would love to get to Memphis. There was kind of like a 40% chance I was going to end up in Memphis. There was talks about doing a CBS thing there. I've got some people I could meet up with in Memphis. I want to go to that event. But this opportunity came up in Greensboro, so not this time. I have one roster spot to fill in season long, Clayton or Hall. Gosh. Harry Hall. Am I nuts for playing Webb at plus 360 to finish inside the top 10? I think you are. I understand what his history is. I know it's very good. He's getting like 2 strokes per round over 50 rounds, but he's not even hitting it well. I mean, he's not doing anything well. He's not putting it well. He's not hitting it well. He is gaining 3 or 4 strokes around the greens, which, by the way, I did not see anybody have any issue with any short game shot last week or yesterday. I saw guys in bunkers stuff it. I saw guys in difficult downhill lies, tight lies, stuff it. I saw every there was no short game shot that gave anybody an issue. So I'm not even sure how Webb separates himself. Hey, Rick, weekly league with a sizable pot for picking a 100-1 long shot. Best options are, Kevin says, Smalley, Grillo, Meissner, Coles, Fishburne, Webb, Hadley. I probably wouldn't have said Smalley if we didn't already look at his profile, but if not Smalley, probably Coles. Has the tour given any indication on what the plan is? No. There's not. There's not any plan, or at least they've not released it. I'm sure there is a plan, but they have not released it. Chris, with a couple of emojis that actually look really good on this screen. Can you look at Hughes and Denny McCarthy? Who's got a better form and course fit this week? All right, so actually, let's just compare them like this. Let's just go to the cheat sheet here and do Denny versus Hughes. See what these guys have been up to in the last 36 rounds. Denny's been a little bit more accurate off the tee. Neither of them are hitting a lot of greens in regulation. Both are hemorrhaging strokes, ball striking. Denny's been better around the greens, but Hughes has been better with the putter. They're both very, very tight on strokes gained total. Wow. They're both, I mean, I guess the reason that you're asking about this is because they're both pretty close. I guess the good news here is you've got Denny coming in with better recent form, or excuse me, Hughes is coming in with better recent form, so probably giving the edge to him there. Just an FYI, to any Canadians playing on Flash that you... Oh, I think that's supposed to say Splash. Just an FYI, to any Canadians playing on Splash, that you either need an iOS device or you'll be unable to make your picks until Android app has been created. Okay, there is also... If you have any questions, because Canada just rolled out on Splash last week or the week before, if you have any questions, we have our own like kind of straight shot to support. It's VIP support at splashsports.com. They will answer those, I think, much quicker. You can say you're coming from Rick. That they're good with that. Hey Rick, thanks for all your hard work. Can you please give me a front runner, middle of the pack, and lagging behind one and done picks? There's a lot of tight ones here, but for me, I would say Billy is my front runner. I would say that my middle of the road is probably Shane Lowry, and my anything else is Cam Davis or Aaron Rai. Had to map out my one and done with Henley. Okay, Henley's not playing this week, he says. Okay, if you're switching from Henley, you should probably then go to, I don't know your position here. Yeah. Big Tone is right. Like there's like a flow chart, right? If you're, are you in the top 10% of your one and done? If yes, Billy Horschel. If you are not, are you, 3 million behind or less? Yes, Shane Lowry. If you're further, you know what I mean? Like we're only at so many options right now. Ryan, if you're front running, I would go with Horschel. If you need to make up a little bit of ground, I'd go with Rye. The biggest difference there is there's like 15% ownership difference. Is there any other sport? Are there any other events in which the sponsor and the potential winner, if he were in the field, could have the same name? I assume Alex is talking about Wyndham Clark winning the Wyndham. He's not in the field, but if he was, he could do that. I know it's not a sponsor, but Sam Ryder could win the Ryder Cup, right? I don't know. Hey, can we get a deep dive on Jordan Spieth? Yeah, so I'll probably only do the Spieth thing once just because there's a lot here and it's, it's whatever. So I asked this question to Jordan Spieth about his wrist yesterday, and he gave a phenomenal answer. He probably gave too much information than he should have. He said it is not he does not feel pain during his swing. Okay, he does not feel pain during his swing. He feels pain about once a week doing something in life, whether just that tendon pops out and it's very, very painful until he pops it back in, but it does not hurt while he swings a golf club. The reason that he thinks his game is struggling is because he is subconscious about it during his swing, even though it doesn't hurt. And it's also on clubs that he has to hit the ground with. He's more conscious of it, which is, I will pat all of us on the back. This was kind of our assessment of this, right? When we heard about the wrist injury and we looked at the stats and we said, oh my God, he's driving it like the best he ever has. And he's having one of the worst approach years of his career. the assumption we made was that it was because he was hitting the ground and that was not good for the wrist. And he kind of confirmed that. So it sounds like he is leaning towards an off-season resolution of some type. My understanding is probably surgery. I don't know if there are other remedies, but that's what I think Jordan Spieth will end up doing. So I will not be rostering or really being interested in Jordan Spieth until we get a resolution here. Probably only going to cover that like one more time. Or that's the only time. Hey, Rick, the main reason I'm up 10 million in a head-to-head one and done is because I listened to you. Please give us the longest shot you believe the data says can get a top 5. I mean, if you're up 10 million, why are we going into the long shots? Right? Is it just because you're just trying to save everybody and you think you can get by? I mean, you could put him to bed with like a winner this week, couldn't you? I don't know. Anyway, I'll just show you the data. So this is the tournament predictor. Top 5 here. So the best players in the field have like a 20% chance of finishing inside the top 5. So I don't know what you think, David, like a good shot is. If we call it 10%, Maverick McNeely, Nick Dunlap, something like that would be where you'd want to go. If you think it's like 5%, Michael Thorbjornsen. Who are your top 5 mutters? I have no idea. Off the top of my head, and I have no idea if this is true or not. Shane Lowry, Billy Horschel, Seamus Power. Trying to think. Those are the only 3 that I would really. The rest I would just be guessing. I don't know. I mean, I'm still kind of guessing, but those are the 3 that come to mind to me. Pets' heads are falling off. Come on, guys. Rick, earlier this week, you mentioned a head-to-head you like due to the line making no sense. Can you remind me what that bet was? Yeah, it was Steven Yeager as a big favorite, or minus 120 over Nikolai Højgaard. Doesn't make any sense. That line is talking. I don't know if I'm listening correctly, but that line is speaking. Rick, I fell into a Barracuda rerun and saw a very different point system. Yeah. So that's called Stableford or modified Stableford. They actually used to use that a lot more. It's a kind of an old style of playing golf. For whatever reason, the Barracuda has held on to that. It's the only PGA Tour event that has it. I think it's stupid, quite honestly. It is actually interesting because there are inherent differences of value. Like you are incentivized to try to go and make more birdies and eagles, because making a birdie and a bogey is a net positive for you, which is why the industry for the last 10 years has been saying, why is this not the DraftKings Invitational, the DraftKings Open, and why aren't they using DraftKings scoring? It's the most natural fit on the PGA Tour for a sponsor, and something like this, I think, would be a huge hit. Otherwise, it's just a very kind of silly event they play once a year. I would rank those guys as Novak, Cole, Griffin, Svensson. I'm pretty big on Ben. Spoke to him yesterday. Game looks good. He models well. Can we get a deep dive on Adam Svensson? Oh boy, we are deep here, aren't we? Adam Svensson. Oh boy. Well, he's one of the worst putters we've got. He's losing a half a stroke per round over his last 100 rounds. Really ugly stuff. The ball striking's not enough to make up for it. The results aren't there. Pass. If you had to choose which duo is going to play better, is it Sungjae and Rai or Horschel and Harman? Ooh, that's a good one. I probably liked Sungjae and Rai. The Harman, I think, is kind of the weak one here. At what point in your life did you decide the top button look was for you? Never. Do you guys think I like this? Justin, do you think I like this? You think I like looking like a top button guy for you? Think I like this? I wear it for the lav mic. to support the lav mic, which I clip in for you so you guys can hear me better. I make myself look like a crazy person because I want you guys to have the best audio. I don't walk around like this. This guy walk around like this? Come on, guys. I have Davis, Horschel, and Thompson remaining, leaning Davis. Sure. I like Davis. I think he's going to be great. Couple of good choices under 6,500. Off the top of my head, I can only think of maybe one, but I cannot remember what his price is. Okay, so I'm refamiliarizing myself here. It's pretty bad. So I think the best options are probably, I don't mind Toasty. I don't mind Ryder. I don't mind Reavie. I think this is one of like the very few spots that he could do something. How much is Ramey? Ramey was the guy that I was looking for. Oh, he's 6,600. Okay, Ramey was the guy that I was looking for. So he just missed your little cutoff here. This might take me an hour, Jackson, but it says, can you explain the new PGA Tour card cutoff this year? So I think it is the guys that finish 71st to 125 can try to improve their position. They all get their cards, but they can try to improve their positions in the fall. Guys that are 70 to 1 are all like kind of locked up, I think. I think actually the guys 51 to 70 can also improve their spot. They definitely can. And then top 50 at the end of the year is all the signature events. Pick 2 for season-long. I had a lot of really tough season-long fantasy decisions. So it's Young, Jaeger, Meisner, or Silverman. You probably just have to play Jaeger and Young. It stinks, but you probably just have to do it. If you wanted to get rid of Jaeger and play Meisner, that'd be fine. I'm here because Rick is fun to hang out with. Thank you, Daniel. Appreciate that. Is Let's Clean in place for it to be better, to be a longer driver, more accurate, because if you miss the fairway, you're like doubly screwed. You're in a bad spot on the golf course, and also you don't get to clean your golf ball. Siwoo or Harmon? Siwoo. Looks like AM PM will have an advantage if there are not stops. Okay, I'm not even like gonna say. I think if this is very much Open Championship to me. I think I said at the Open, I don't know which wave is gonna, like when we looked at the data, it looked the same throughout, and I was like, I don't know who is gonna have an advantage, but some wave probably will, because that's how the Open Championship works. And that ended up being correct. I think it was about a 2-shot difference, but we didn't know which one. And I think I said, do like 30% of one wave, 30% of another wave, and 40% of a mix. I kind of feel the same way about this. If they do start and stop, one of these waves is almost certainly going to get screwed, right? Like that's the only thing that would be really, really fair is if they just played Saturday, Sunday, Monday. If they play it all on Thursday and Friday, I think that one of these waves is going to get screwed. I have no idea which one, because if they have any level of stoppage, it could flip it to the other wave. So I'm not even going to say it's one wave or the other. I just think one of them probably will, unless they play all 72 on Saturday moving forward. Fishburne is a good flyer. Grazerman has been great. The only concern is that, sometimes what you see is you see this buildup and a guy have a really high finish, and then that's like the pinnacle. And I wonder if the runner-up at the 3M Open for Grazerman was that spot. I don't think it was, because he's been such a great tee to green player going back to the U.S. Open. He's got a really good stat profile, so I'm willing to go back for that. But and Fishburne as well, I think is a good flyer. Hope you got to see a great Greensboro Grasshopper game. Yeah, so I don't know if you can see this. I don't know how I could show this. The baseball stadium is right there. I watched them put the tarp on. I could see the entire field from my hotel room. So I went into the stadium last night, stayed for a couple of innings. Then I watched the rest of it from here, and they played a day game today. So they had a noon start, and I watched the whole thing from right here. I can see everything except maybe a little bit of right field. So I've got great seats. I went over there. I got some merch. It was awesome. I love minor league baseball. How do you feel about Justin Rose this week? It says good finishes and no Olympics. Yeah, I think there is. You can make the case that no Olympics is good. You can make the case that it's not a big deal, but you could make a case that no Olympics is good. Certainly been playing better golf. His major championship record this year was pretty good, especially for the last two. He still has a lot of flaws in the game, but he used to just be completely a short game specialist. That's not really the case anymore. He picked up 11 strokes ball striking at the Open. He has gained in ball striking, or at least on approach, in 5 out of 7. So warm but not hot on J Rose. I think it's okay. I'm out. I'm long term on Moore, Taylor Moore, but out for this week. Ooh, okay. So what we could do, I'm going to do this off the top of my head, but there are definitely ways that we can do this. So I'm just going to click like off the top of my head, Pebble Beach, Harbor Town. The question is, what about courses where guys can club down? Here, Sedgefield. I want to say Colonial, right? Colonial is also another one where guys are trying to keep it in between the trees. What am I missing? I feel like I'm missing one. Sorry, I'm just quickly looking through to see which one I'm missing here. I just feel, maybe I'm not, it just feels like I am. There's a couple, you don't need driver at Waialae, but a lot of guys hit it. All right, like just those four, Michael Kim, Justin Rose, Mark Hubbard. Oh, let me get rid of that was just the last 2 years. Let me just get all the history. This might take a second. My laptop is pushing hard right now. Jordan Spieth, Webb Simpson, Matt Kuchar, Sung J M, Daniel Berger, Justin Rose. That passes the sniff test for me. Christian Bezuidenhout also. Yeah, that kind of makes a lot of sense. Do you prefer Davis or Billy? Again, I don't know. They're both great. I think if you don't mind the ownership, go with Billy. Make the cut plus 107. How do you like Shane Lowry, Sung Jae, and Aaron Rai? Sure. I don't. That's a personal decision. I can't answer that for you. No question. Just want to say thank you for the 2 golf patches. Received them yesterday and was pleasantly surprised. Cool. Thank you. Yeah. They look great on my bag. I hope you can put them on your laptop, you can put them anywhere you want. You can do nothing with them, but that's cool. I don't understand why we can't play on Splash in New York, but I can play tiers. Any idea why? I am certain it has something to do with your local congressman, right? There's some law that says you can do one, but you cannot do the other. Did I skip a question? Armina says you skipped the one that was asking about my pick. Sorry. Armina's pick. I've got a smaller screen than usual. I'm trying to make sure I get through all these. Armina's pick, and she's been pretty fire this year, is God, she told me. Oh, Nikolai Højgaard is who she said. Now, I almost forgot this as well. Couple of quick items. Did I talk about Splash? I think I did talk about Splash. Did I talk about Underdog? Okay. So this is important. This is the Underdog portion of the show. Woof, woof. How about that? Armina woofed from home. We're not together. She's 3,000 miles away. She woofed from home. All right. The live chat next week is a very special live chat. It's going to be an extended live chat because what we're going to do is we're also going to draft best ball teams. That's right. We are going to draft best ball teams. So that live chat might be 2 hours long. I don't know how long it's going to be. So in between questions, when it's our pick or when it's time for a new draft to start, we are going to do that because they have got the Pup Cup going on. The Pup Cup is a best ball event for the FedEx Cup playoffs. $10 entry, $20,000 guaranteed for first, and you pick 10 golfers. I just drafted my first team before I left, and I ended up with this team. I was in the 6th spot, and I went Sung Jae and Hideki, Then I got Justin Thomas and Billy Horschel. I don't mind that. Tom Kim, Taylor Pendrith. Then I got some flyers: Dietrich, Cam Davis, Eric Cole, Maverick McNeely. So the idea is getting guys that go deep into the FedEx Cup playoffs, getting guys that play well in the FedEx Cup playoffs. Obviously, being at the turn, you got to take what you can get here. But I love this, and I'm just going to start firing, especially when I get home, as many of these as I possibly can. So that is what we are going to do next week. It's going to be an extended show. If you want to get ready for that, start getting some teams in right now. You can be in those drafts, right? We've had plenty of guys who are watching the live chat and drafting with me. So that'll be fun. $250 deposit match going on right now. The code is Rick. There's a link in the description. If you want to get in on the pick'em stuff for this week, I don't know when they're going to play the first round of this golf tournament. So maybe you wait, but I think when they eventually get out there, they're going to shred this golf course. Okay. The fairways and greens are going to play incredibly soft and receptive. They're very likely going to be able to pick up their golf ball, clean it, and put it back down. And the greens are absolutely pure. I'm not even kidding. They might be the best greens I've ever seen. They're going to shred this place. So we're looking at lowers. Rosie, 69.5 in round one. Birdies or better, 4. I know it's a round number. I would rather have the hook here, but 4 for Billy Horschel. The guys that we like, the Siwoos, I like Siwoos for birdies, not necessarily scored because of the volatile nature in which he plays. Aaron Rye, I mean, I just think that they are going to take the lid off this place. Assuming they're not playing through like an active, oh, here we go, flood warning on the TV right now. Flood warning in these remains in effect for these counties. I don't know what county I'm in right now. But yeah, we're getting it. We're getting it all now. I think they're going to take the lid off this place as long as they're not playing through an active tropical storm. That's my hunch here. And then get ready for next week. We will just absolutely be firing those best ball teams. Code is Rick. Link is in the description. I'm actually here with Underdog this week. So that was one of the reasons that pushed me here. They're getting us together Saturday and Sunday. They've got I think a club box for us this week. So it'll be very, very cool. They're doing some really cool innovation. Stoked about it. All right. Let's roll on. Let's roll on. I don't know where I'm at. Okay. Yes, I did snag Grasshoppers merch. Don't tell Armina. Sorry it's raining on your trip. That's okay. I did get rained out from golf this morning, but I had a lot of work to do, and that's fine. I don't mind. Listen, I'm having a great time. I'm having the time of my life. I've watched 2 minor league baseball games. I've had pizza basically constantly. I've been doing shows here. I've got my internet set up. I'm having the freaking time of my life. I'm having a blast. So don't worry about me. Do you recall if DraftKings adjusts lock times in weather situations? Ooh. Hi, Andy. I'm assuming this is the Andy Fox that I know. I don't see an avatar, but if this is the Andy Fox that I know, hi, Andy. It's good to see you. I don't recall. I feel like they would, but it would have to be announced. You know what I mean? Like, it would have to be announced by the tour a little bit in advance, I think. But I don't know, Andy. I'm sorry. I don't know. Can we get a deep dive on CBEZ? Sure. I think he's been really good, hasn't he? Lost 5 strokes on approach at... Oh, I remember this. Hold on a second. I remember this. I remember this profile. Yeah. So what he doesn't do well at is weeks where there's like water on approach shots. He finds a lot of water, which was like Bay Hill, Lake Off National. But otherwise, he's been pretty good. Great short game, really good putter, which I like, and he's driving it better. If you look at he's $8,700. I got to go back to the cheat sheet. He's $8,700. I want to see what his last 36. Yeah, I mean, he's gaining a stroke per round. He's 9th in this field in strokes gained total over the last 36. I thought he was playing really well. Yeah, that's pretty good. I don't mind that. So happy you clarified the top button thing. Yeah, I mean, listen, if you think I walk around like this, I have nothing against people who do this, right? But like, I don't do this for my health. I don't walk around like this thinking it's like I look good like this. I think I look better with it unbuttoned. I saw Rico Hoey yesterday. He tried to drive. God, what is that? 8 is 8, 7 or 8 with the split fairway. It's a short hole. He tried to drive it up by the green. It did not work out well. It was left and it went into the marsh or whatever. But I liked the aggression there. I don't know if he's going to try that during the tournament round. I think he was just checking it out. He's a phenomenal driver. The problem is, I think unless he is going to take on all that risk, which I think he'd be pretty silly to, he loses a big edge with that driver this week. The good news is the rest of his game has gotten a lot better. He's really found his form, but I do think he gets a little bit of a downgrade this week just because he's not going to be able to separate himself through the driver. You're in Guilford County. Thank you. I'm the one in the county, and someone online is telling me what county I'm in. Okay, I don't think that was the flash flood warning, but I did see that they did issue a like severe weather flood watch type situation for Guilford. Thank you, Matthew. DraftKings, Oliver says, DraftKings will move start times back on contests if the delay occurs before the tournament starts. They do it for Showdown all the time. Okay, there we go. Thank you. I knew somebody was going to be more in tune with that than I was. I am at the end of the questions. The ones that I skipped were generally questions that I answered already or did not have enough information to really go off of. So I will leave this... Okay, so I'll answer this question in a second, Brian. So rapid fire, whatever you want, last couple minutes here, whatever you want, get it in right now. I don't care what it's about. We'll have a little fun here. And I'll answer this question in the meantime. So Brian says, with all the rain headed in, do you think guys with better distance should be considered a little more heavily with the fairways being soft? The answer is yes, but only a little, right? You have to think that, when golfers miss fairways, there's two ways to miss them, obviously. You miss it by landing it in the fairway and having it roll out, or you miss it by just hitting it into the rough and landing in the rough and it's staying in the rough. Most guys who miss fairways don't roll through fairways, especially because Sedgefield kind of always plays a little wet and a little soft. And I think that I didn't see a lot of that yesterday, especially because it's not a lot of drivers. You're hitting a lot of longer clubs. They're not rolling through anyway. So I think if guys are missing fairways, they're missing them in the air. The other thing that I would recommend is distance from edge of fairway is a really good stat for this week. Missing the fairway by a little bit, it's going to stink because you're going to get doubly penalized, but missing it by more, you start to get into some bad stuff out there. So it's a good call. Thoughts on Spieth in tier 2 on Splash, knowing he can now drop the lowest score? Yeah. So I took on more Spieth. I took on more risk in a lot of places, knowing I can drop the worst score. Keegan Bradley deep dive. Unfortunately, I was hoping that this was going to be a massive year for Keegan. It didn't turn out to be. It did professionally and personally with the Ryder Cup captaincy, but it didn't turn out like that the way that I thought on the golf course. It's good, not great. It's fine. Admittedly, I think he's got a lot of distractions going on right now, and rightfully so. He's the new Ryder Cup captain. He's now a President's Cup assistant captain. He's got a lot of stuff going on. I don't blame him for playing like C+ golf. Did you change data models on 54 hole events versus 72, or can you? Oh, that's a good point. I didn't. I guess I could, because I do break it down like hole by hole. I could just do 3 rounds. I'm not going to do it right now. It's going to take like coding and stuff, or coding, quote unquote. Will there be a fall swing one and done? Oh boy, I haven't even thought about the one and done. I don't know, Ronnie. I'll be blunt here. The one and done is like a lot of work for not a lot of juice. The juice is that I enjoy it, and I know that you guys enjoy it. And I know, or I'm really speaking about Run Good Golf. The ones that I run on Splash are no work for me whatsoever. It's great, actually. But I know that not everybody is eligible for those. So maybe I could get one in on Splash, right? I think I could do that. Deep dive on Luke Clanton. Okay. Yeah, there was another question about Luke Clanton. I don't think I brought up his stat profile. I think that his so this might come back to bite me. I think this is probably the worst course for him since he's been playing this this year. So it's only 5 events. We're going to be event 6. He is not going to really be able to tap into his elite distance. If he is wild off the tee, that is going to hurt him. He will probably miss more greens, and he is very bad around the greens. He does not have a lot of experience or any experience here, and I do think that this is a golf course that does require or reward a little bit of consistency or experience, excuse me. I think this is a bad spot for him. I hope I'm wrong, and he's incredibly talented. Maybe he can overcome that, but I think this is probably one of the worst spots for him. Armina, my wife, who is not here to put any restrictions on me, and rightfully, actually, I eat a lot of pizza while I'm with her. She says, how many times have you had pizza in North Carolina? I've had it every meal, I think. So I went to a place called Elizabeth's yesterday. That was very good. That was an Italian place that has pizza. And they had gelato on the way out. I almost got that. I ate a pizza there, and it was good. It was very, I got the margarita. It was very sauce heavy, which was fine. A little bit heavier. This place I went to earlier today, the Corner Slice, I think it's called. I loved how thin it was. I could eat 10 of those pizzas. It was so good. I didn't feel heavy afterwards. Delicious. I did not get pizza last night at the baseball game. The only thing I got at the baseball game was Dippin' Dots. So is that the whole time? Yeah, I mean, every meal I've been here, I've only eaten really like 2-ish meals here are the pizza. And I know you're jealous, so don't worry about it. What's the best golf trophy? There's so many, but the old Mayakoba one where it was the colorful chameleon is really good. I also like the style and the design of the deer for John Deere. God, I'm sure I know there's one. I know there's probably an epic one that I'm not thinking of right now, but those are the first 2 that popped into my head. Both. The fairways are really narrow, and they're kind of deceptive in the way that they're angled. You really do have to hit it, on the right line to keep it in the fairway. And they are tree lined. I think it's a very difficult driving golf course, which is why you see so many guys lay down or club down, lay down. While in New NC, you have to try their barbecue. Yeah, maybe I'm still on my pizza kick. Hey, Rick, I live here in High Point. There are some hidden gems in Jamestown, North Carolina to eat at. Well, Brian, you have to tell me what they are. You can't just throw that out there and not tell me what they are. DM me or put them in the chat. I think the chat will still show up after I close this off. All right. I appreciate you guys. I enjoy this. Is my favorite hour or so of the week. Next week will be probably 90 minutes or 2 hours. I don't know, however long it takes. Should be a lot of fun. I am wishing you all to stay dry. Have a little patience this week. Have a little grace. I think it's going to be weird. If the models stay the way they are right now, I have no idea how we play golf on Thursday. And I don't know if we'll play golf on Friday, but it'll be a great week either way. I'm having a blast. You guys are having a blast. Thank you, guys.